was just like I wrote it. So today we're going to be talking about building a membership. For some reason, it seems like it baffles some people, but that's something that I absolutely love because I believe in the program so much. So I love offering it to everyone that I see. So I want everything that I say today is not theory or, stuff that someone told me, is what I've actually done. Okay. And I hope it does for me. I hope it does for you what it done for me. So I joined Toastmasters in 2013. In 2014, I was the club president of our club. I was a club president and the area director at the same time because I wanted to get my DTM. Okay, more about the area director later. But I was a club president. And our club at that particular time had 6 members, 6 active members. And in 12 months, we went from 6 members to 30 members. Of the 30 members, I personally recruited 18 of them. So I'm going to show you how to do that. There is no mystery, none whatsoever. There's no, I'm sorry, Mike, but there's like really no magic wand or anything like that. It's really, really basic. It's just like riding a bicycle. Okay, how do you do that? It's very simple. The way you do it in Toastmasters, the way you do it in any other organization or in any company, just like I've done my business, very simple, is this. You have to increase the value of your product or service, and then you offer it to the world. Okay? With that being said, I'm going to say this and I want you to write it down. Lack of membership is not a problem. Lack of membership is a result of another problem. I'm going to say it again. Lack of membership is not a problem. Lack of membership is the result of another problem. Give you an example. When I was younger, I used to drive these crappy cars because I had no money, buy a car for like, $2,000. Now, you guys have probably seen, well, I know you didn't see me down the road, but you've been on the road or maybe on a highway or something, or just seen a car pass by with a lot of smoke coming out of the tailpipe, right? White smoke coming out of the tailpipe. And you go, woo, that car is not going to be here long. And you're right, it won't. And some people may say, well, all that white smoke, or to stop the white smoke, all you got to do is just stick something in the tailpipe, right? It'll stop the white smoke, but it won't fix the problem because the white smoke is the result of another problem. You take it to the mechanic and then he'll raise the hood and he'll say, okay, this happened because this happened, it caused this to happen. And that's why you see the white smoke coming out. Question. Your membership is just like that. Your membership is the white smoke coming out. It's not the problem. It's a result of another problem. So my question is, I want everybody to open up the chat, okay? And my trusted aide, Diane's going to help. What are the 6 key areas of club quality? Could anybody name them? Diane, let me know when I got all 6.
Fellowship.
Okay.
Come on, people, let's go.
Fellowship and communication, first impression.
First impressions.
Achievement and recognition. Mm-hmm.
Engagement, moments of truth. Personal growth.
Okay. Good answers. We're missing a couple.
Integrity.
6 key areas of club quality.
Meeting quality.
6 key areas of club quality.
Value and purpose.
Value proposition. 6 key areas of club quality. Those are good answers. Okay. Huh?
Fun.
Okay. So the 6 key areas of club quality are first impression. There you go. program and planning, fellowship and communication, membership strength, achievement and recognition, membership orientation. Those are the 6 key areas of club quality. Those are also the things that make up the club mission. Okay, so this is how this works. I am about to make this so simple for you. You're going to say, oh my God, this is just so simple. Okay, so this is how this works. I can only go back as far as when I first started Toastmasters, which was 2013. Okay, but the way this program works is like this. Is very basic. When they start a club this year, last year, all the way back to then, as I said, that's as far as I can go back. The way it works is like this. We know that you have to have 20 members to start a club, right? Because that's how many members it takes to be able to provide a supportive and positive learning experience. Knowing that regardless of how many members you have, not everyone is going to show up at the meeting. But if you start off with 20, you have a really good chance of being able to fulfill all of the roles. Okay, so when a club is started, it's assigned 2 mentors. Hopefully you got 2 mentors. They're going to come there with a manual called Master Your Meetings, right? Now, what I want you to do is write that down. Master your meetings. Don't anybody get the link and put it in the chat. It's your homework, because I want everyone to know where it is. Master your meetings. In that manual, it will tell you every single thing that a person has to do in a meeting. It's going to tell the president all the way down to the secretary, treasurer, speaker, timer, agreement. It tells you everything that you have to do before the meeting, everything you have to do during the meeting. It tells you everything you have to do after the meeting. And it shows you in those 6 key areas. Okay, so the club mentor is going to spend 6 months basically installing those 6 key areas. Twice a year, the area director is going to come around and do what's called an area director visit to do an area director report. Okay, if you look at the area director report, would you like to take a guess at what it is? It's those same 6 key areas. He wants to, or not he wants to know, but he's basically gauging, look at it and say, well, are they doing this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this? Okay. The mentor is saying, you should do this. You should do this, putting this in place. The area director is coming back twice a year to making sure that these things are being done, because this is how you create the supportive and positive learning experience, right? Okay. Now, if for some reason your club has 12 or less members, they're going to send a club coach if you ask for them. The club coach is going to come with the moments of truth. What is the moments of truth? Those same 6 key areas. So basically they're saying, the mentor is saying, this is what you have to do. The area director is saying, are you doing this? And then the club coach comes and saying, we need to do this. That's how simple it is. The one that we focus on the most is the membership strength, the membership strength. But remember, that's a result of missing out on a couple of key points on all of those other ones. And it depends on your dynamic as far as which one it is. Okay, so building the membership comes into 2 parts. 2 parts. The first part is the first impression. What we're going to do, or what you have to do, is I want you to treat your club in the first impression like my mom treated her house, not like my dad did. I'm going to tell you, this is the difference between my mom and my dad. And it's probably like this for a lot of men and women. I don't know. But it was like this with my mom and dad. When my mom had company coming over, or she thought somebody was coming over, you know, she would make us clean up and stuff, and the house would smell real good because it was all boys. So, you know, it was, you know, it can get kind of, you know, tart, as we say. But she would make us clean up the house, and she would always cook something in case they wanted to eat or something like that. She would be this real pleasant host because she wanted to have a good first impression, right? Now, my dad, on the other hand, now once my mom passed away, my dad's a little older, and I went by there a lot. And when he got older, I kind of lived with him. But I go to my dad, and I brought my girlfriend one time. Shouldn't have done that. Go to my dad's house. Now, I was born and raised, and we lived in a trailer. So you go through the hallway in the trailer, and then it opens up to the kitchen and the living room. So I didn't tell him I was bringing my girlfriend, and I should have. So I go in there. My dad's sitting back in front of the TV with the remote in his hand, no shirt, no pants, nothing, just sitting there in his boxers. And he's rubbing on his chest like he's Idris Elba or something, or some like America's Next Top Model. And I'm like, and my girlfriend freaks out. She goes, whoa. And I said, Dad, you're not gonna put no pants on? He said, hey, this is my house. I pay the bills here. You don't pay the bills here. And if you don't like it, you can leave. And he says, hello, Miss Lady. It's like, okay. So the difference is my mom always wanted to make a first impression. My dad did not care. It was all about him. What's that have to do with clubs? Okay, there's a lot of clubs where people say, well, this is just how we do things. And that's fine. Just like I told my dad, that's fine. However, if you want to make a good first impression, okay, these are the things that you have to do. So when you have a good first impression, the first thing that happens is you have to increase your guest to member conversion rate. So let's take a logical progression of how people get to your club, a guest. They may be invited by you. They may be invited by someone else. They may have seen something, but we live in an age to where we don't really do anything unless we do what first? We research it. So what's the first thing that people do? They Google it, right? Now, the Toastmasters website is designed to sell. It's for people looking for a Toastmaster. It has all of the nice stuff on it. Everybody's smiling, all of the good stuff, right? So they have in their mind an idea of what it is. I don't know of anyone, there could be a few if you just grab them and say, come. But most people, especially in today's world, they're going to do some type of research first. Okay, they're going to look at it. Now, they're going to get the address, they may get dressed or whatever, but they have a reason that they're coming there. Something, either someone said, an experience, or something on the website piqued their curiosity enough for them to attend one of your meetings. Now, when they see your meeting, whether they walk in or whether it's on Zoom, regardless of what they saw on the website, that is now their impression of Toastmasters. And it's too late to make that good first impression, because as I said, regardless of what they saw, this is now their impression of what Toastmasters is. Now, in order for them to join your club, the reason that they did the research or the reason that they came, it has to be a match, which means that if they think it's really, really organized and it's not, or they think that there's people that can help them be a good speaker, and there's whatever it is, because remember, it's pretty straightforward as far as what Toastmasters does. We only focus on two things, okay? If they don't see that, then there's a chance that they may not join. Now, regardless of what they tell you, what they see has to be worth $45 or whatever it is. It has to be worth their investment. Okay, so if you focus on that manual, Master Your Meeting, as I said, it tells you every single thing, what to do. You're going to have an extremely high conversion rate. Now, when I was a club president, it took a while for us to kind of, because everybody was new. We had 6 people, but they kind of like weren't doing anything. Oh, one other thing. I had no VPs. It was myself as a president. I had a secretary, the treasurer, and the sergeant at arms. I had no VPMs. I had no VPE. Okay. But it took a while to get traction. From November is when we started getting traction. We really got good at what we were doing, even though it was very few of us. From November, because we tracked it from November to February, every single guest that we got became members, 100%, every single one of them. And I think that was like maybe 10 or 11 during that time span. Okay, but we had really found something that works. The biggest reason that you have to have a good first impression when it comes to building your membership is because you have to be able to take advantage of the gimmies. What's the gimmies? The gimmies are the people that we just talked about. They may have heard about Toastmasters somewhere else, and you did nothing to bring them to your club, nothing at all. They just showed up. They just either showed up on the screen or they just walked through the door. Those are the give-me's. You have to have a good first impression to be able to take advantage of those. I used to say this a long time ago. I don't know if it's still true or not, but I said this, and this was before COVID. I said this. I firmly believed that if you have a really good first impression, or a really good, club quality hitting on all cylinders, you will have enough people that walk through your door that you can get 8 gimmies. Now, we know a lot of people don't put a lot of emphasis on it, but we do. The people that just walk through the door, you have to be able to take advantage of the gimmies. Okay? Now, the second part to building membership is retention, of course. So we talked about the 6 key areas of club quality. 1 being the first impression. The other 4, not including member. Well, yeah, we can include membership too. 5, those are the ones that retain the membership. Will the members be recognized for their achievement? Do you have a well-planned meeting? Will they get a mentor? A trained mentor, not somebody just to tell them what to do. Will they get a mentor that's going to really help them achieve their goals? Now, I want to say this about I want to separate the two if I can. Okay. I want to separate new member orientation versus mentorship. Mentorship can go on for a long time. I still have a mentor. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about having a program in place to help this new member get acclimated to the Toastmaster way, basically. Okay, those type of things. Variety and fellowship and communication is one of them. Here's the thing. You have to communicate. One of the biggest things that I see in clubs, there's 3 main ones that'll stop a club from growing when I coach clubs. But the biggest one, the big dookaroo, is conflict. You can hit on all of those cylinders. If you have conflict in that club, it won't grow. People will leave because at that point, it's not worth $45. Oh, and by the way, we just come out of the renewal cycle or the renewal period. Okay. Here's the thing about that. It only takes about, I'm going to say a max, maybe 2 weeks to collect dues for an entire district. All the club officer has to do, treasurer, just take that list and go down the list and ask them, are they going to renew or not? And it's either yes or no. You know why? Because they've already made their decision based on their experience over the last 6 months, whether they're going to renew or not. So there's really no strategy as far as how I'm going to get them to do this or how I'm going to get them to do that. They've already decided. And it's based on whether you have a supportive and positive learning experience. Just that simple. Okay, so, man, I'm running out of time fast. I need about 4 hours, Iona. Okay, so here's 2 do's. No, here's 1 do and 1 don't when it comes to building your membership or especially new members. One, don't. Well, first of all, the do. The do is ask them to join when they show. Oh, Joel, I feel like I'm trying to sell them. I feel like I'm selling. I don't want to feel like a sleazy salesman. You're not. You're not a sleazy salesman. And I'll tell you why you're not. It's just maybe some people are not comfortable being in that position. Some people don't like being rejected. Okay. But remember, if they're not that familiar with Toastmasters, not really knowing how it works, like me, somebody has to ask you. I went to my first Toastmaster meeting in January of 2013. I went to that meeting in January. Great meeting. I had a good time. I even did table topics. Nobody asked me to join, so I left. The lady there told me, she said, we're going to be opening up another club in Houma, which is my hometown. There was no Toastmaster then. She said, you should come to that one. So a couple of months later, I want to say maybe in April, they started the club like in March. I went there, packed full of people, right? She didn't ask me to join, so I went home. I made a decision then that even though I like Toastmasters, I wasn't going back to another meeting because I thought maybe they just didn't want me there. I didn't know what the process was. It doesn't tell you that on the website, right? Remember, you don't have any manuals. So they don't tell you ask to join. So you got to ask them. I would not have joined because I just thought the first one, I was basically giving them a second chance. I was not what they were looking for, but they called me in June. You know what happens in June, right? So ask them. Besides, it tells you to in mastery meeting. It's a simple question. And they'll tell you either yes, no, or maybe not now. That's it. But the thing is, you have to ask them. This is how you take advantage of the give me's. Okay. The don't. Now, this happens a lot when you're not expecting company. You make your entire meeting about them. Don't do that. That's kind of creepy. It really is. Especially if, you have like maybe 10 people and like everybody's pointing towards you, everybody's looking at you, even the speaker, they're not even speaking to an audience, everybody's speaking at you. That's weird. And then at the end of it, you say, do you want to join? No, you're creeping me out, man. Don't do that. Okay, go on with your meeting. Let them watch. That's what they're there for. They want to observe. Don't make them do table topics, and I've seen it. And I remember I was in this one club, which is no longer in existence. You don't wonder why. It's like this person was there. It's like, well, you want to do table topic? And the guy was like, come on up, come on. And they were terrified. It's kind of like being in college, when everybody's at the bar and this one person don't want to drink. And they're like, come on. And everybody started banging on the table. Drink. And it's like, they're never coming back again. Let them watch. Go on with your program. Do your speeches. Okay? Do your speeches and just have fun with it. And you can just talk to them later. Okay. So here are some must-haves. Must-haves. First and foremost, your meeting must be hybrid. Must be hybrid. Our world has changed. Because our world has changed, people are looking for different things. In order for you to provide a supportive and positive learning experience, which empowers members to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. If you want to do that to the masses, if that's what you want to do, now remember, you don't have to. Altruism is real. If you just want to be your little group, that's fine. But if you want to achieve the the club mission, you have to have a virtual element in it because there are now going to be a lot of people reaching out to Toastmasters for that virtual element. Before, it was people that, mainly focused on face-to-face because that's the way the world was. But because of the pandemic, it forced us to basically jump hyperspeed into a virtual setting. So in order for us to be able to accommodate and still provide a supportive and positive learning experience, You have to have that hybrid element. And hybrid, it's not as hard as people think it is. You can very simply log on a laptop computer like we started off. You got to start from somewhere. You have to start from somewhere. Somebody can simply log on a laptop, whoop, turn it around and face it toward the podium. Boom, there you go. You're hybrid. And you build from there. You build from there. Now, I found this out. I'm going to throw this little caveat in here real quick. When people talk about, and I found this out through some listening groups, where we found that when people talk about they're having a struggle with technology, what they're really talking about is, how do I hook this wire to this monitor or to this TV or to this? That's not a Toastmaster problem, but it's very, very easy to solve. It's very simple. If you have a Samsung television, you call Samsung. And they can walk you through it. It's not hard. You don't need a bunch of equipment, okay? But you have to make it easy for people to attend you. This is unfortunate. It happened to me last night. And it's not because I'm speaking today. It's because yesterday I just felt like going to a Toastmaster meeting. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to go to a meeting in Toronto virtually. So I went to the Find a Club. Went to Find a Club. I typed in Toronto. I pushed Tuesday at just Tuesday PM. Okay, bunch of clubs popped up. Now I know Toronto has more than one district, 2, maybe even 3. Okay, but all I put in was Toronto. I don't know what districts the clubs were in. This is the unfortunate part. I started at number 1, didn't care what club it was. I click on this one, go there, there's no link. Go to the second one, click on that one, no link. So I started flipping through because it had some that were, restricted, some that were met like at noon. My point is saying this, I went through some of them, click on the link, they transfer me to another page, click on the link doesn't work. Doesn't work. I went through 9. Shout out to Brampton Toastmaster. I hit I hit the thing, pops up, and I see a picture of Leslie on there. Leslie's speaking there next week. There's a number. I put in the number. I put in the password. Voila. I'm in. Now, if I'm a guest and I'm trying to join a Toastmaster club, do you see how hard that can be? You see how, especially in this day and age, how easy I can easily go to like maybe a John Maxwell or a Dale Carnegie or something like that with the click of a button. You have to make it easy for people to join your club. Okay, enough about that. So, what else? Oh, speaking of making it easy and taking advantage of the give me's, okay? Always be this is one thing I was really big on. I was a district director during the pandemic. So this is the one thing I made a really, really big push for going virtual, was being able to sign people up virtually. You have to have the ability to sign people up, whether you're face-to-face or whether you're online, just like that. If you do not have a means to take payments online, that should be one of the first things that you should do. One thing I told my clubs, I said, if you really think about it, we're in that age right now. People do business online all the time. Every single club should have the ability to fill out an application online, and you should be able to take a payment online. This is the world that we live in right now. So those are things that are must-haves. You must have that. Okay? Now, are we ready to talk about some marketing strategies? Or do I still have some time, Iona? Because you told me a half hour. I can speak on this like 2 days.
You have lots of time.
I have lots of time. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so remember, all of that is to say this: we have to get the product that we're offering to the public. We have to get that perfected. Well, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we have to make some changes to it. We have to increase the guest to member conversion rate, and you do that with the first impression. And we have to increase the retention rate, And we do that with having an organized meeting. We do that with a fellowship and variety. We do that with the achievement recognition. We do that with the membership orientation, especially new member orientation. Because if you don't, you're going to have a revolving door. You know, you can, there's always a few that's going to stay in Toastmasters. We got lifers. We have some that are getting benefit from it, but we have some that pay for 6 months. Now, granted, I know we have people that's going to pay one time and you never see them again. That's a very small minority. But I'm talking about the people that has never received the service that they thought that they would get, that they perceived that they would get by doing their research online. Okay, so we want to make sure that we retain those. And the way that you do that is through the other 4 to 5, if you still want to count membership strength, the other 5 areas. That is your bread and butter. Once you get that fixed or on the right trajectory, now it's time to market. Okay, so the first thing I want to bring to your attention is something called the District Strategies Guide. If you start on page 21. Start on page 21. It's going to give you, I think it's 21, 22, 20, 21 and 22, a whole list of things you can try to build your membership, different activities. Oh, but let me say this first and foremost. You have to do something every month. If you want to build a membership, you have to actively build membership. You have to be what I call new member focused. Like my mom, you got to clean your house. You got to be expecting company and be ready for it. You have to be new member focused. You have to actively try to build membership every single month. That's why you have a vice president of membership, and they're there for 12 months, right? To reach out to the community. And I see this a lot. I'm not sure how that works, but I'll see people that will do this really nice flyer, and they'll put it in they'll send it to the district membership, or they'll put it in a Facebook group. Do you know those people are already in Toastmasters? They're already in a club. Yeah, well, they might want to come to our club, and they may. However, if you take that, because remember, that's a limited pool. District 123 is big, but it's not the city of Toronto. That's where you want to market. You want to market outside your club, outside of your company. Now, I know companies that got a lot of different rules with that, but my point is, if you have a vice president of membership, the vice president of membership, along with the team, because everybody plays a part in it, once you read the Club Leadership Handbook, and I know you did, everyone plays a part in it, okay? But the key to it is to actively do it every single month. Learn how to do an open house. Whoa, Joel, we tried open houses, that don't work. Now, it should. You have one meeting that you're inviting everybody in the world to. Why would that not work? If it's not working, then there's something in the marketing, and that's an easy fix. Okay, that's it. If you hold one open house per month, you can have more than enough members, because that was the one thing that we found traction on. And that wasn't in the first year. It was like in year 2 or 3, where a very good friend of mine, my mentor, actually just really kind of streamlined the open house process for us. So we were taking advantage of the Give Me's, plus we were actively building membership. That's how we went from 6 to 30 in 12 months. Actually, it was like 6 to 30 in about 10 months, because the first 2 months, I didn't know what I was doing, because I just joined Toastmasters like a couple of months before that. Okay, so if you don't have something right now that you know for a fact works, if they say if it's not broke, don't fix it. Okay, open houses work for us. We learn how to do it. So that's we do. That's where we get traction at. As a matter of fact, we have one tomorrow night. Okay, but if you have not, based on your dynamic of your company or the dynamic of your wherever you live in your territory, try the shotgun approach. Try a lot of different things. Let the world know, right? Market as many places, market to as many ways as possible, and you monitor that. You monitor that to find out where you're getting your traction. If you have not come up with something right now that you know works, one of the things that you have to ask people is, how did you find out about us? Where'd you hear about it? I saw it in Facebook. I saw it on LinkedIn. I saw it on Instagram. I saw it in a newspaper, wherever. And what you're going to find out is a lot of the other things that you were doing, you can stop doing those because you're not getting any traction there. Now you can focus on the places where you're really getting your traction, and then you can really put the pedal to the metal. But try the shotgun approach first, actively every single month. Do as much as you can to find something that works for you, your dynamic, whether it's, as I said, whether it's your city, your territory, or whether it is your company. Okay, so always market to the public. The second thing is you want to make sure that you have a continuous loop, that you stay in contact with those people. Now, this can be automated. Now, when I say stay in contact with them, I don't mean just send them something. We're having an open house. We're having an open house. We're having an open house. No, let them know what's going on, especially if you're involved in the community. So I know a lot of people in Canada use Speakeasy. I think that's the name of it. And here in the United States, we use Free Toast. But I've been on the Speakeasy site, and there's a way where you can collect email addresses for a guest, as well as former members. Send them a newsletter every month, every quarter. It does not have to be a big deal, but you want to stay in contact with them. I cannot tell you how many people we've had to come back, guests and former members, okay? Because we let them know what's going on in the club. We let them know people's success. That's what I'm talking about. This cannot be one-sided, just, hey, how are you? Oh, we miss you. No, you don't. You just want them to come back and become a member, right? Be genuine in this. And I did a presentation for District 86, maybe about a month ago, okay? And I talked about how much fun we had in the beginning, and I talked about different stories. All of the stories that I chose them for a reason, because we were talking about the why. None of those people finished the Toastmaster program, but they all achieved their why, which was the most important thing. And because of that, we get so many people being sent to us because we have a good reputation. No, they didn't become a DTM, but I can lay out the successes, too many to even name, okay? That they came to us. Our goal was not to kidnap them. Remember, Toastmasters is not a cult. If people want to leave, that's fine. We can't control that. The only thing that we can control is creating a supportive and positive learning experience in which the members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills. That's what we control, and that's what we did, and that's what we still do today. Okay? I said all of that to say this. We started off in 2013. Until now, we've been 10 out of 10. We do not chase DCP. We do not chase 10 out of 10. It comes to us. Well, Joel, what does that mean? When you only focus on 10 out of 10 or only focus on distinguish and not the club mission, what happens is, first of all, you're going to have a revolving door because you're going to be pressuring people. We need someone. We need you to give an icebreaker. We need you to do it. Well, who is we? What about what I need? What about what I need? If you focus on the mission, that's going to come naturally. 2 years, when I was a district director, I was a president again. Okay. And the only thing we did, now they will tell you, I only went to like maybe, I used to push it and say 7 meetings, but it was really like 4 club meetings a whole year. In October, we had 7 goals. 7 goals. And when at the club, our club executive meeting, I said, hey guys, we got 7 goals. And without batting an eye, my secretary said, how can we get better? She didn't mean how can we get the other 3, because they were already locked. All we needed was like to renew, go to the next TLI, and it was something else. But she said, how can we get better for the members? How can we do more for them? Scrapped it, and we just went to brainstorming again. Now, that is true. I only went to like 4 meetings. I talked them all during the week. But our executive meetings were 4 hours. I poured all of my energy and all of my effort into my club officers, making sure that they were achieving their goals in Toastmasters, making sure they were achieving their goals in their personal life. I had them write it down, and that's what we worked on for 4 hours. But it was fun. It was like a workshop. And well, of course, we were 10 out of 10 again. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to make me a promise. I know that you want to build your membership. I know you do. But I want you to, every single thing that I told you will work. I got proof it'll work. This is how I coach clubs. All I have to do is find out, I see the smoking tailpipe, raise the engine, fix the engine, smoke gone, distinguish. Okay. But I want you to do it for the right reason. I don't want you to bring members in if you're not going to help them. If you're not, and here's the thing, the same club I was telling you about, I coached them. That was part of my HPL. And the guy basically said, I don't have time for that. He was an older, when I say older member, meaning he had been in like 20, I don't have time for that. I don't want to do that, meaning mentor people. I love the fact that he was honest about it, but they weren't distinguished. Okay. So before you talk about bringing people on, fix your car and make sure that you're willing to create that environment so that they can benefit, not just so you can be distinguished. Don't do it just because you want to be distinguished. And I feel so passionate about that because I was that person. I went to the meeting in January. I went to another meeting in April. They called me right before the end of the year in June, right? I signed up in June and they never spoke to me. That was never about me. If you read the story that in the feature that Toastmasters did in Toastmaster magazine, and it sounds great, and they will tell you, in there, well, Joel never spoke for 6 months. It wasn't because I was afraid. I was never afraid to speak. It's because I felt like I didn't belong there. They never said anything to me. Have a mentor? Never had a mentor. They never said anything to me until they needed something. They needed somebody to compete. I didn't know what it was, and she pressured me into doing it. And when I did go, guess how many people want to cheer me on? Nobody. I spent $300. I went to a conference that nobody else went to from our club. I came in second in the district, and I had just gave my icebreaker the night before. That's why I said I was going to quit, because what I had researched, remember we talked about it, and my impression, when I went to that club, I transferred club, by the way, if anybody got lost, I transferred. The first club that I was a member of, okay? When I went to that club, and especially after I felt like I basically got used for their benefit, oh, no, they were clapping when I joined. And then they just left me alone. That's why I was going to quit, because I felt like I didn't belong there. So if you're going to do this, every single thing that I told you, it will work. But just do me a favor. For the people out there like me, just make sure you do it for the right reason. Don't chase DCP. It's going to come to you. Just focus on creating a supportive and positive learning experience in which your members will be empowered to develop communication and leadership skills resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Back to you, Madam District Director.
Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. I'm going to now open the floor to Diane Payton Sutherland to call out any question and answers that you may have. Thank you for that presentation, and over to you, Diane and Joel.
Thank you.
Okay, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat so we can ask.
Leslie's got his hand raised.
Yep, Leslie, go ahead.
Yeah, so very often I've heard people say that open houses don't work. Open houses don't work. But in my own experience, if you plan an open house properly and you go through all of the steps, you do the preparation, the advertisement, it does work. So how do you counteract that statement that we often hear, open houses don't work?
It's not that open. Remember, open house is just a meeting. Do your meetings work? Okay. I think a lot of times people are under the, I don't want to say under the impression, but what's the best way to word this? First of all, the marketing is the problem. We market throughout the year. As soon as we have our open house, it's tomorrow night. Next week, we start marketing for the next one. They don't, first of all, they don't give themselves enough time to market. And it's a marketing problem. It's not an open house problem, because as I said, the only thing you're doing is inviting people to meetings. right? And I promise you, if you listen to a lot of what I said about making a good first impression, making it easy for them to join, all of those things, if you just focus on the marketing aspect, the first impression, okay, making sure that meeting is tight, everybody knows what they're saying, it's a professional meeting, you have the application, you have the ability to enroll them at that time. Okay, it's very simple. What they're not telling you is what they're doing wrong. They're telling you it's not working. Someone else has got their hand up. Oh, first of all, did I answer your question, Leslie?
Yes, that's exactly what I think. I think for me personally, when I am thinking about an open house, I like to think of it as a project where you
Yes.
deconstruct every aspect of the meeting. You know, you make sure there's someone to greet the guests. You make sure you have enough time to advertise the event. You make sure that the agenda is 100% on point. You look at every single attribute, and you have to micromanage the entire agenda. Everyone who's speaking, you should not have any incidents. So, and it's all about quality.
If you look at that manual that I'm talking about, and that's your homework, I hope everybody don't read it, don't look at it, don't flip through it, study it. Everything that Leslie just said is in it. When I tell you this manual tells you every single thing you have to do, it tells you everything. He just named a couple of them, but it tells you everything to do. Next.
Okay, I was going to go into the chat, but we have someone on the screen. Your name is, I can't see your name.
Vesna. You're still on mute, I think. Still not working. Come on, Vesna, you can do it. There you go.
Technology. Apologies. So I'm with Church Stowville Club in Toronto area, Northeast, and we are preparing an open house. So I joined Toastmasters only in May, and in July I became the president of the club.
I love it.
Yeah, I have a lot of learning to do in a short time. So, but I'm getting there, more comfortable. So, you mentioned the open house tomorrow, and you are also saying that you have hybrid meetings. So, is that open house hybrid as well?
Yes, all meetings are hybrid. Yes.
Is there a way for me to attend and share it with our club so that we can learn from, you know, seeing it?
The letter ETM Zoom.com. E as in echo.
Yeah.
T as in Toastmasters. TM Toastmasters. ETM Zoom.com.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things that, and as I said, it was always a process. So we said, hey, why don't we just personalize? It's free, I think. Why don't we just personalize the link to make it easy for us to remember? ETMZoom.com, Evangeline Toastmasters.
Yeah, okay. I see it in the chat box. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I remember that, you know, I was kind of like that, Vesna. I was so excited when the guy said, hey, you want to be the club president? I was like, yeah, I'm the club president. I'm the club man. I was telling all my friends, man, I'm the club president. I only been in there like 3 months. It was like, well, what do you do as a club president? Like, I don't know. But I'm the club president. That was exciting.
I'm right there with you.
Okay, who's next?
I guess Michelle.
Yes, it's me. Joella, what social media are you using to promote your club?
Okay, so when we started out, one thing I did, I tried the shotgun approach, and I did mention that because I was new. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what actually was going to work. So I started. I don't think Instagram for us wasn't a thing then. I didn't know anything about Instagram, so I used LinkedIn. I used Facebook, and I went to I was surrounding parishes, and I found that you can put ads online for free. So every month I would put ads online for free. Okay. And we were getting traction from some of the ads in this one particular area in Facebook. So the others, like, because we wasn't getting anything from there. So I just focused on Facebook, and we still do today, Facebook and just the local online ads in the newspaper. We've also did a couple of bulletin boards, and that worked really well. That's something that worked. I guess they just don't do it anymore. I used to go to Starbucks a lot, and we put like the flyer up there. We got people from that in just different places where we used to meet. The building where my office was, it's an incubator, an entrepreneur incubator. We put flyers up. So flyers work for us. We got traction with flyers. We got traction with Facebook. The newsletter to former members and to guests, we got traction from that. So we were able to get a lot always coming in, and we always made sure that our meeting was organized, and we created that good first impression. So it was easy for us to sign people up, and it still is. Hey, Andrea, no ears today.
No ears, Joelle. Sorry, no ears today.
Okay.
So my question, I have it in the chat, but it's just probably easier if you see me.
Yep.
So what are your suggestions for boosting membership in Advanced Club without being accused of siphoning off members from existing clubs?
Okay. One of the things that I suggested, I love being the regional vice because you love my suggestion. In my club, in my region, no, just teasing. So one of the things that I think, I got this from District 50, which is in Dallas. I was a guest speaker at their conference about 4 years ago. And what they do is they are first of all, they're always active. They're the ones that put on a lot of the district trainings based on the dynamic of that advanced club. What is it? If you specialize in something, for example, storytelling or evaluate, whatever, they do a lot of things throughout the year. This one particular club that I know that focuses on evaluation, other on storytelling, they give a lot of sessions during competition time to help people with their speeches, so they get a lot of pull from that. But the one I got from District 50 was the fact that they actually there's two of them. They have a meeting at their conference. Every advanced club has a meeting at the conference. So because you got all of the people there, the people that can potentially be a member of your club. I don't know what your restrictions are, if it's just restricted to your particular district. If so, you got a lot of them right there. Let them come to your meeting. And that worked really well. I saw them get some members from that. But the thing for an advanced club is you have to stay active in your space, whatever your space is, whatever your expertise is, your advanced knowledge. You always have to have that in the forefront. Whether it's in your district, if you have the ability, because we're virtual now, if you have the ability to go outside of your district, whatever it is, when you market, you make sure that your expertise, your advanced knowledge is in the forefront.
Thank you so much, Joelle. I like that suggestion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have another idea for you.
Yes.
The other day, I went to a specialty clubs showcase by one of the districts. Now, what I learned from that was we could use that for advanced clubs. What they do is they come on the Zoom link, they promote what their club is all about, and members just go to check it out to see what's going on. It was fantastic to find out what the specialty clubs were all about. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure members would love to find out more about the advanced clubs the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great idea,
Natasha?
Diane.
Sorry. Thank you. Natasha?
Hi
hey,
there.
Natasha.
Hello.
Hello.
So the pandemic put a lot of people online.
Mhm.
When you're advertising, so I have two-part questions because I'm new to Toastmasters.
Mhm.
When you're talking about areas and districts, are there boundaries? So, first question. And because a lot of things are virtual versus people would have gone locally to their local club, to the library or wherever it was being held. But now that you're using digital, like on Facebook, to advertise, are you using QRC codes so that if you post a flyer somewhere or poster, that somebody can use their smart device to automatically go to the link?
That's a good idea. The key to this is make it easy for people to find you and make it easy for people to attend your meetings, whatever that entails. Back then, when I was doing it, there was no QR codes. But now that they do have them, the QR codes seem to be the thing. And it's nothing to get. You can go to Bitly and get a QR code. So yeah, anything that's going to make it easy. Now remember, if I wanted to join a meeting last night, look how long that would have took. You know? There was a lot of links that I clicked on that didn't work. People didn't have. So we're in this space now. We're in the virtual space. We're the Jetsons. Guess I'm showing my age when I say the Jetsons. Natasha, did that answer your question?
Yes. So it's not currently being used. But prior to the pandemic, when you are talking about districts and areas,
Mm-hmm.
like ridings, were clubs allowed to only advertise or in certain areas because people were coming locally?
You can advertise anywhere you want.
Okay, so there weren't restrictions like franchises have restrictions. Yeah.
No, this does not go by franchise rules.
I was just using that as an example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
One last question. We have one in the chat.
I got time. If anybody wants to stay, if you have to go, I don't have a problem with
It's a
that.
red light for me, so I don't.
Or even if you have to go down, that's fine.
I don't have to.
I know
go
it's 7:00. I know.
I'm good. I'm here. I'm good.
Iona?
Iona?
I'm right here. That's
Can
fine.
we-
You can keep going. Absolutely, you can.
Okay.
Hot dog.
We're going to leave the room
Diggy
open so you can
doggy.
keep talking.
Okay. For those of you that have to jump off, it was great seeing you, your little squares. Good luck. Good luck. And if you guys need any more additional help, take a look at Master Meetings. Get it right. I'm telling you, once you get it right, it's going to be so easy for everyone because other people are going to start doing stuff and not you all the time. But if you need some more help or like some more support, just follow it on up through your area director, division director, district director to me. And we'll get it done. Bye-bye, guys. Okay.
Okay. Addie has a question. If Addie's still here, do you want to say it, or do you want me to just read it?
Yep, I'm still here, Diane. You can read it though.
Okay. Addie said, would you recommend, you're talking anyways. We might as well talk. Come on.
All right. Put me on the spot there. Hi, Joelle.
Hi. I don't see you. You see me, but I don't see you.
I'm on now.
Okay.
Okay. My question is, for instance, I have a club where we actually have 18 paid members, but attendance at the meetings is generally pretty low. Usually we have 5 or 6 people show up, and it's not because of paper members or anything like that. People are just very busy. Mm-hmm. And we want to have an open house. Would you recommend getting helpers from other clubs? That way we have a full slate of people that are guaranteed to be there?
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Okay. Well, let me ask you this before you. Mm-hmm. So the club, what is your position? You're the club growth director, right?
Yes.
Okay. The club, do they want to grow?
Yes.
So.
Yes, they do. They want to be able to have more robust meetings, and with the fact that everyone in the club is really busy, they have pretty low attendance. So they want to grow the club that way. People aren't searching for someone to fill roles last minute and that sort of thing.
Okay. So you have to look at that as a coaching situation. And here's why. They may have 18, but a lot of those 18 are not willing to do certain things. Remember, we talked about the 6 key areas. So you have, it's not, that situation won't just be about having new members in, because if it stays the same, they're going to leave in 6 months. Okay. So that means that the area director and the division director, if you have some experience, this is the time to be resourceful in that, around that particular area, club and area, even division, since we're virtual right now, because they're going to need more support than that, those new members. Now, here's the thing. Those other members, they'll have a change of heart. Once they see the energy come back, the energy will come back once those new, it's easier to build that environment when you have new blood, as they say. And then that means that when the older members come back, you don't give them a checklist and say, hey, you do this, you do that. No, use their expertise. Okay, you're going to have the backbone and the muscle of the new people, but the fundamentals still need to be in place in order for you to be able to turn and walk away from it. Because if not, it will just collapse again. So yes, I would advise on getting other people to make sure all the roles are filled. But you got to remember, the people that come, they still did research. They still want certain things. So it's not just about filling out that application, because they want to make sure that they get their dollars worth as well. And I think that club officers, as well as the district, we have a responsibility to do that. So whatever it's going to take for that, that's what you do.
Thank you, Joelle.
Sure.
That's it.
Vesna, long time no see. I haven't seen you in such a long time.
Yeah, hi again, Joel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm really interested about 2 things. You mentioned LinkedIn. Now, I'm mostly on LinkedIn because it's a professional platform and I haven't been on any other social media, although our club has Facebook, so I'll have to get on Facebook, I guess. But I'm wondering, I heard some comments that LinkedIn may not be as attractive or resourceful, which I don't see why it wouldn't be, just how much you post. There are a lot of professionals and potential members on LinkedIn. So what is your experience with that?
Okay, so when it comes to making decisions like this, now one thing that we did do, I did a lot of it, I paid for certain advertising. If you are, just marketing in general, when it comes to making decisions, it's best to make decisions off of data and not hearsay. Okay, just last year or maybe a year before last, the way that this LinkedIn package came out with Toastmasters that they offered to the districts was that they did research. I don't remember. I think it was like for 18 months or something like that on all the social media sites to see where they were going to get the most traction. Just like what I did. They stole my idea. Can you believe that? And they didn't give me no money. But they did research on all of the social media sites on their message and with the service, the product that they have to offer. Okay. And what they found, and they did just that because they were just rolling out Pathways, okay, which is kind of like a new product. So they wanted to find out where's the best fit for it. And the numbers showed that LinkedIn was the best social media site where they were getting the most traction. It wasn't Facebook, it wasn't Twitter or anything like that. It was LinkedIn. So they validated through data, through more research, that they were getting more traction from LinkedIn. That's when they said LinkedIn. But that's not based on hearsay, that's based on data. So that's the way I would do it, that would invest in. Good enough?
Yes, that's perfect, because that's my experience in other things is that LinkedIn is really strong in any professional relation. And the other was about the newsletter. You said that one of the potential what I call value proposition in increased value for members would be to have a newsletter. So how do you approach it? Is it an email message, or what would be reasonable ways to explore?
Okay. You have one of the best public relations managers on the planet in Michelle. That's something that she can help you with. But I will, to answer your question, what I did was I used MailChimp back then, and I used it when I was a district. I made like a really pretty newsletter. Remember, I wanted to make it easier, so I didn't make a PDF. I didn't have a PRM. So what I basically did, I created, I sectored off the entire district. And I of course I knew what the public relations manager's job was. So I knew I had to market to, I had sectored off the general membership. I had it sectored off for the deck. I had it sectored off for the outside contacts. And I would just, for the club, for example, all you have to do, and I wanted to, I used the newsletter to recognize people that were achieving things, whether it was in Toastmasters or whether it wasn't. That means a lot. It really does. Okay, if you go to, which is one of my favorite series that got me this far, is Leadership Excellence. Those 11 manuals, let me tell you something. You learn those, you learn the skills in those, you can be president Toastmasters, because it's the only difference is you're just getting better and better and better in doing that. But one of them is how to motivate people. Okay, how do you motivate people? You can motivate with money. You can motivate them with public recognition, more job responsibility. Here's the thing, when you cheerlead good behavior, it's easier to correct bad behavior. I didn't have any bad behavior, but I wanted to recognize and keep them engaged. So I recognized every single thing that they did. And it was a basic newsletter that I did through MailChimp, and it was very simple. It only took like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and that's it. But that's what I basically used it for, with just recognition. Now, that's for the club members, but I also had a list of all of the, and as I said, if you guys use a website now, which you should, every club should have a website. Okay, you have the ability to have all of your past members. You have the ability to have all of the guests that'll come that did not join. Always stay in contact with them. It's the same thing. You know, don't just send them, say, well, we have an open house, and then we have anything. It's like, you just want something from me. No, let them know what's going on in the club. Let them know all of the accomplishments. And some people say, you know what, man, I miss Toastmasters. I need to get back on the ball. And those other people say, well, you know what, maybe I'll take a look at it. One of the people that the only one that I mentor right now, he's a division director. The guy that mentored me and him are really good friends. Okay. He asked him to come to a meeting for 6 years. And he finally came. And you know what happened? He came into a real good first impression, boy, because I was waiting on him. And he got in. He got in. But you always want to, and that doesn't take a lot of work. A paragraph about this person got promoted, a paragraph of, you know, we're going to this conference, you know, just something to keep Toastmasters, you know, in their mind. That's it. Out of sight, out of mind, but always keep it in there. And that's it. It doesn't have to be anything big. But don't just always make it about, you know, come to my meeting, come to my meeting, come to my meeting. Okay?
Fantastic advice. Thank you, Joel.
You're welcome.
So, Joel, can I just chip in something there?
Sure you can.
Yeah, I see one of our corporate club presidents, Daisy Lang, is on the meeting. And I hear you talking about recognition at the meeting. And I think that's one of the things that my work club does. Like, you know, when people in the club get a promotion or something happens, they win a contest, it goes in. And I can see a direct correlation between that recognition and the rep and the recognition, the club itself, not just the members. For instance, every time I go to a department meeting, I talk about Toastmasters. So everyone knows that I'm, you know, the Toastmaster guy, but they also, the supervisors or managers, they also recognize, when a Toastmaster presents at one of the meetings and like, hey, that guy did, oh, he's a Toastmaster. Oh, yeah, now I understand.
Yeah.
And then they recommend their staff to join Toastmasters, the Toastmasters Club. So we are overflowing with members. We're thinking about splitting to a new, staff.
Wow.
I wanted to just point that out because I think that's one of the things that corporate clubs can do.
Yep. Thank you for that, Leslie. That's a great idea.
Well,
Daisy, did you have your hand up?
Do you have any more advice for corporate clubs?
Who, me or Leslie? But I think Daisy had her hand up.
Oh, I did have my hand up. I was just going to say, hi, Leslie. Thanks for the recognition. Hi, Joe. Sorry, I was a little bit late. I would say I agree with Leslie. It's really, it's easy to talk about club. We had a town hall today, and one of our members was actually moderating it, and she made a really quick mention of Toastmasters, and we literally had 3 to 4 people email us, and they're attending as guests tomorrow. So I think that's great. The challenge our club has is the commitment. I think one of the members spoke earlier is the commitment to keep them committed to the roles. So we find that there's a lot of last minute, like literally the last hour. Sorry, I got pulled into something and I can't. So we've got to last minute struggle to find someone to fill the role, or if there were speeches assigned. That's kind of I would say the biggest struggle we have is making sure our members stick to their education goals and that they're able to, work on. It's not just getting from Toastmasters Club, but also be able to participate, right? I think that's sort of our biggest challenge. So that's why I thought I'd join today to see what tips we can get around that.
Have an extremely exciting meeting. Okay, so when you talk about creating a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered, the key word is empowered. They're not empowered. Okay, what's the difference? There's a difference between being encouraged and being empowered. It's like a little kid on a bicycle. He doesn't know how to ride a bicycle. So he's got his hat on, he's got his elbow things on, he looks like a football player on a bicycle, and you're pushing him. You're saying, come on, you can do it. You're encouraging him, right? But when he learns how to ride that bicycle, he becomes empowered. Now he doesn't need any of that stuff. He's just on his bike. Now you have to catch him before he runs into the street. Right? He's become empowered to ride that bicycle. Nothing's going to stop him. We went from 3 speakers to 5 speakers because so many people wanted to speak. That all goes back to the environment. Okay, keep recruiting. Remember, it's a full-time job, just like the president, just like the VPE, the vice president membership, and the team. You have to actively recruit and make sure. But if you do those things in that manual, if you master your meetings, that's what I'm gonna start saying from now. If you master your meetings, your members will be empowered, and that will not be a problem. But you have to be able to determine, because people just kind of not. That's going to happen, and people back out because of work or stuff like that. But just people saying, well, I don't feel like it. Well, you know what? I didn't even practice. Let me tell you something. When you get empowered, it changes everything. I give an example. The year that I competed in 2016, after that, I was in a district and we were having a panel discussion. They were talking about competition. They were talking about the different levels and things like that. And it was myself, it was Josephine Lee, and 2 other people. I don't remember who they was, but they were talking about, well, I didn't, I had one competitor, I didn't have any competition at the club. I had one competitor at area, and that seemed to be the norm. And they went on with the conversation. I was like, wait, whoa. They said, well, Joel, how many did you have? At the club, you know how many people I had to compete against? 10 people. We're not a big club, but we were empowered. And that was the hard, until I got to district, that was my hardest competition. And I almost lost to somebody in our club in the division. Actually, I thought I did, but I didn't. So that there is a difference. There's a distinct difference when the membership is empowered to do things versus you have to encourage them. If it's kind of like, ho hum type thing, you're going to have a lot of people back out of roles, because if you go from a scale of 0 to 10, they're about at a 3 or 4. Okay. If they're empowered, that is 7 or 8. They're going to be there. They're going to be there. If they're going to do everything that they can to be there. It's not like if one thing pops up, I'm not going to go to Toastmasters. No, they want to be there because they're empowered there. And that comes from their why. It comes from a lot of planning in the meeting, but it's really because they have direction and where they want to go. It can't be all just about Toastmasters. They have to see themselves making progress in their personal goals. And anybody will tell you, I use that as leverage against everybody that I meet. You know, I mean, yeah, that's great. You know, you did this speech, fantastic. You did this speech, fantastic. Sooner or later, we're going to have that conversation again about you getting passed over twice in your job. I know you had fun at the meeting. You know, you're talking about your vacations and stuff like that. But that's not what you told your wife while you came to Toastmasters, right? Let's make this money work for you. You know, so yeah, you know, you're right.
I don't want to interrupt you, Joel. But you're going a little far. We have 2 more questions, and then we need to wrap up.
Okay. 2 more questions.
Josephine?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much.
Hi, Josephine.
Thank you for sharing your information. Apologies, I was actually late in joining because I had another call immediately before this. And so can you just go over a few more tips for advanced online clubs, 1? And 2, what tips can you give for networking with other clubs? So for example, earlier in the year, we sent out some emails to some other clubs inviting us to our meeting or one of our particular meetings, we were taking a workshop, and someone replied back, stop spamming us. I was like, what?
It's kind of hard for me to hear you. Can you hear it better, Diane?
Not really. It's a little muffled.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, I've just taken off my headset. I'm not quite sure why.
Okay, now I can hear you better. Yeah.
Okay. So again, so apologies. I had another call straight before this, so I was late in joining the call. Mm-hmm. But thank you for sharing your knowledge. And I wanted to find out 2 things. What tips would you give for an advanced online club? And also, what tips would you give for networking? Because early in the year, we sent out emails inviting other clubs to join us for a workshop. And someone replied back, stop spamming us. Mm-hmm. I was like, what? So what tips would you give on that, those 2 aspects?
One person told you to stop spamming them, or a lot of people?
One person, but it was still like, what?
So you are an advanced club, a virtual advanced club, because are your members in the same area, or are they worldwide?
Worldwide, and the club was initially set up to be purely online, just before COVID. Mm-hmm. And of course, we've maintained it that way. So purely online. And we've got members from around the world. So even for like myself, I'm speaking to you from the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you are emailing clubs to have a workshop with you?
Yeah, we're having this fantastic speaker. And would you like to attend?
Okay. So it's just a simple invite. Okay. The person that says stop spamming them, don't send them any email and keep doing what you're doing. I think a lot of time, because you're not going to keep everybody's not going to be happy. As long as you're doing it within the guidelines, and if you can run that up the chain through your area division director, through Iona and the public relations manager, to make sure that everything is in accordance. Just don't email that one person. Just keep reaching out around the world.
Yes. Okay.
And don't take it personal. Don't take it personal.
Well, I did think it was a bit unfriendly. It was one Toastmasters club to another Toastmasters club, And then in general, what tips would you give for an online club? Because hybrid is one thing, or meeting in person is one thing. Some people in general have said they want the in-person club because they miss that connection, that human connection. But then, of course, for those of us who are around the world, time differences permitting, or those who are early owls, the online club does help.
Okay, so here's two things here. So the people that want to be a part of a face-to-face club, have them join. Recommend they join another club. I'm pretty sure that, I don't think Iona would mind. I don't think Diane would mind if they join another club that meets face-to-face. As far as marketing a virtual club, you got to remember we're in that space. There's tons of people that want to learn how to do podcasts. There's tons of people that want to learn how to do YouTube videos professionally. That's your space. That's your space. So maybe more market research to find out how you can get traction, where those people are, where do they hang out, where do they meet, where are they, and build your presence there. If you are in if you strictly a virtual club around the world that's offering a Toastmaster program virtually, there's a lot of potential there, but you have to reach the people that are looking for it.
Yeah.
And you got to find out where they are.
Yes.
So just keep doing what you're doing. Invite everybody except that one person.
Well, that's one club. All right.
Yeah, that one club. Sure.
Thank you.
I believe Michelle has in the chat that they add the unsubscribe. So if if they don't want to receive what you're sending out, then have an unsubscribe button or link.
Thank you, Michelle.
Stop doing that.
Okay.
Natasha, last one.
Hey, Natasha.
Hi. Again. So a question. Some advertising costs money. Like, where does that money come from?
Your club dues.
Okay. We're a new club. Well, I'm in a new club. We just chartered on July 30th.
Congratulations.
June 30th, July 1st. Hi, Leslie. We're having issues. Beyond that, but the specific date of memberships and dues. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess people like myself who are new, when we're paying our dues, what part of that, I guess, would be allotted to advertising?
Okay, so your area director, your district executive committee can explain that to you. Your area director, division director, district director, they can explain that to you, since you guys are new. Or your corporate club or community club?
Can somebody answer? Peggy?
Community, and Leslie's our point person, so he's working with us on that.
Okay.
Joel, you mentioned ads online for free with Facebook. Perhaps Natasha's club could use that. You had mentioned that you used ads. Okay, free Facebook.
Okay, so this is one thing I don't want to do. I don't want you guys to, as I said, make sure you're doing this for the right reasons, because all the questions are coming about marketing. Yes. So what I did was this. I created a Facebook group. Of course, it's an open group. I made sure that I always, at the end of every meeting, the best speaker and all that kind of stuff, I go take pictures of them, post it into the Facebook group. But part of our enrollment process on there, we wanted to make sure that they joined our group. Because when I don't even do Facebook anymore, but when the people join the group and you post it somehow, how does it work where it shows on their feed or something like that? You just tag them or whatever. So we use that strategy. Okay. Which means that we were always looking to put something, something good about somebody just so we can tag them and use their influence. That's basically how I built my business as a speaker. I didn't have a big following. I just used everybody else's. So if this person gets best speaker, we want to make sure that it shows in their on their feed, right? The whole Toastmaster thing, make sure that it looks professional, all that. And of course, they're going to be eating it. Oh, wow, you got best speaker. Yeah, I did. What's this Toastmaster thing? Come find out. So we did a lot of that.
We're gonna.
If I may say, I don't think you can advertise for free on Facebook. You can make postings for free, of course, and you can put events and stuff like that for free and share that amongst other, like-minded groups and so on, friendly groups, Toastmasters groups. But you pay for adverts on Facebook. Sometimes Facebook might give you a certain amount of like $5 US dollars or $10 US dollars credits throughout the year from time to time. But generally speaking, you have to pay for adverts if that's, on Facebook.
There is a comment by Michelle, our PMR, our public relation manager, that if you contact her, she has ideas that can help with social media and ideas for free and promoting PR without paying. So I suggest you try that and then see if that works for you. I know she's a wealth of knowledge too, so keep it up. With that, Joelle, we have to pass it back to Iona.
Thank you very much, Diane, for moderating a wonderful town hall today. And thank you especially to Michelle for promoting this so widely. And I would also like to thank Leslie Benfield for adding his personality to this town hall. We hope we will have very many more to come. But most especially, Joelle, thank you for bringing your spirit, your heart, your energy. And we certainly hope that each one of us can have 20 or more clubs and members in our clubs. And most especially today, we learned there's a difference between marketing and there's a difference between public relations. Marketing is where you go paying for things. Public relations is word of mouth and little things that we can do to improve our membership. But Joelle, you have been exceptional. Thank you for all that you do for our district. Thank you, Diane, for spotlighting and for taking care of all the questions and answers. And thank you again for spending your time with us, Joelle. We love you, we honor you, and we welcome you back to our district again. Thank you
very much. I had fun.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.